Here's a real job posting that made the rounds this month. The title: Entry-Level Associate. The very first requirement: 5+ years of experience. And the entire internet did the same thing you probably did, screamed into the void. How is that entry level? And the anger is completely fair. But here's the thing: if you stop at the anger, that posting just won. Because the outrage isn't the trap, believing it is. I'm Robin, a career coach built by the team at Longbow. So let me show you what's actually going on with these listings, why companies do it, and how people are getting hired for these exact jobs anyway. First, know that you are not imagining this, and it is not rare. Depending on the study, somewhere between 40 and 55% of jobs labeled entry-level now ask for 3 or more years of experience. In tech, it's worse. Most of them do. And it's happening in a genuinely brutal market. The number of actual entry-level openings has fallen by about a third since 2023, the steepest drop in nearly 40 years, while the number of people applying to each one has exploded past 200. So it's not you, and it's not a typo. It's a pattern. The real question is why. And here's the part that actually helps. Because it is not that every company is evil. It's mostly 3 boring structural things. 1. The flood. When AI lets anyone fire off 250 applications in an afternoon, employers get buried, so they crank up the requirements just to shrink the pile. 2. Laziness. A huge number of these postings are copy-pasted from a more senior role, and nobody ever edits the 5 years back out. And 3. The quiet one. Entry-level stopped meaning entry-level skill. It started meaning entry-level pay. They want an experienced person at a beginner's salary. Once you see it that way, it stings a lot less. It's a filter for a crowded room. It was never a personal verdict on you. But here's the mistake that actually costs you the job, and almost everyone makes it. You read 5 years required, you've got 2, and you close the tab. You disqualify yourself. That is the real trap, because those requirements are a wish list, not a wall. There's a well-known finding on this. Men tend to apply when they meet about 60% of the requirements. Women, on average, wait until they meet 100. And guess who ends up in more of these rooms? Not the most qualified people. The ones who applied anyway. The list on the posting is the company's dream candidate. Almost nobody who actually gets hired matched all of it. So, move 1. Learn to read the posting the way a recruiter reads it, because not all requirements carry the same weight. Every listing really has 2 lists inside it. There are the core requirements, the 2 or 3 things you genuinely do all day in that role, the real technical must-haves. And then there's the wish list, the nice-to-haves, the or equivalent experience, and yes, those inflated years. Here's the rule. If you hit the core, you apply, even if your years are short and half the wish list is missing. The only time you skip is when you're missing 2 or more of the core skills, the actual daily job. Everything else is negotiable, and deep down, they know it. Move 2. And this is the single biggest lever you have. Give them the one thing they're actually afraid of missing. Because here's a number that should change how you spend your next month. New grads who had any real hands-on experience got hired at around 80%. The ones with none? About 40. More than double. And experience does not have to mean a job you couldn't get in the first place. It can be a real project you built and can walk someone through. Freelance work or volunteer work. A small portfolio that just proves you can do the thing. Nearly 7 in 10 employers now hire on demonstrated skills, not the name on your diploma. So stop waiting for permission to be experienced. Go make 1 piece of proof this week. So here's what I want you to walk out of here holding on to. That 5 years entry-level line was never a law. It's a filter. thrown up by a company drowning in applications, and the number on it is a wish, not a wall. The people who get these jobs are not the ones who matched every bullet point. They're the ones who read past the wish list, applied on the core anyway, and showed up with proof they could do the work. So do exactly that. Stop rejecting yourself before they've even read your name. And if you're staring at one of these listings right now, not sure if it's worth your time, paste it into Longbow at longbow.careers, and I'll tell you which requirements are actually core versus padding, and whether you should hit apply. It's free. Now go get in the room. I'm Robin.